Hello everyone, my name is Tara and welcome to Aligning to Love. In this channel I aim to spread hope, joy, peace, and love to the world by sharing goodness and love within my life. In this video I wanted to talk about family, personal, and school updates and events and the signs that I saw along the way. I also wanted to apologize in advance that I'm sorry I did not get more videos out this week. It had been a very busy and stressful week, and there were also some more unexpected things that I didn't plan on that had happened. I also want to apologize in advance if the quality of this video is not as great as my other ones. I usually film it on my husband's camera, and I'm using mine because his is not available right now. So hopefully hopefully this goes well, and I hope the message still comes across the same. All right, so here I go. It was really hard to put into words all of the emotions that I was feeling and what this school had meant to me and everything that I had done in my life and had experienced in the 10 years that I've been at this school. But when I was walking down one of the hallways of the school as the teachers were trying to donate and move items to different classrooms or donate them to other places, I saw one of my favorite childhood books. And this book was called Miss Rumphius. And it's a story and pictures by Barbara Cooney. And I've always loved this book. It has a lot of philosophies and outlooks on life that I was raised to believe in as well. And also a lot of the jobs that I have taken share the same outlook with their employees and what they want their organizations to bring to the greater world. And so this book has meant a lot to me, and it also has aligned with a lot of the jobs and careers that I have done. So I want to read it to everyone. And then I'll talk about how it connects to my life and what's happening right now. So again, this is Miss Rumphius, Story and Pictures by Barbara Cooney. To St. Nicholas, patron saint of children, sailors, and maidens. Oops. The lupine lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. In between the rocks around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The lupine lady is little and old, but she has not always been that way. I know. She is my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, she was a little girl named Alice who lived in a city by the sea. From the front stoop, she could see the wharves and the bristling masts of tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. Now he worked in the shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of the ship and carving Indians out of wood to put them in front of cigar stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to his stories of faraway places. When he had finished, Alice would say, When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places. And when I grow old, I too will live beside the sea. That is all very well, little Alice, said her grandfather, but there is a third thing you must do. What is that? Asked Alice. You must do something to make the world more beautiful, said her grandfather. All right, said Alice, but she did not know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up, washed her face, ate porridge for breakfast. She went to school and came home and did her homework. And pretty soon, she was grown up. Then my great aunt Alice set out to do the 3 things she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home and went to live in another city far from the sea and the salt air. There she worked in a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," said Miss Rumphius, "but not quite." So Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical island where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. She walked along beaches, picking up beautiful shells. One day she met the Bapa Raja, king of the fishing village. "You must be tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met the Bapa Raja's wife. The Bapa Raja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top, so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water inside. Before she left, the Bapa Raja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he had painted a bird of paradise and the words, "You will always remain in my heart." "You will always remain in mine too," she said. My great aunt, Miss Alice Rumphius, climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping, and everywhere she made friends she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, she hurt her back. "What a foolish thing to do," said Miss Rumphius. "Well, I have certainly seen faraway places. Maybe it is time to find my place by the sea." And it was, and she did. From the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it across the heavens and sparkle on the water, and she saw it set in glory in the evening. She started a little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house, and she had planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. "But there is still one more thing I have to do," she said. "I have to do something to make the world more beautiful." But what? The world was already pretty nice, she thought, looking out over the ocean. The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not very well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. Then the flowers she had planted in the summer before had come up and bloomed in spite of the stony ground. She could see them from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. "Lupines," said Miss Rumphius with satisfaction. "I have always loved lupines the best. I wish I could plant more seeds this summer so that I could still have more flowers next year." But she was not able to. After a hard winter, spring came. Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again. One afternoon, she started to go up and over the hill, where she had not been in a long time. "I don't believe my eyes," she cried when she got to the top, for there on the other side of the hill was a large patch of blue, purple, and rose-colored lupines. "It was the wind," she said as she knelt in delight. "It was the wind that brought these seeds from my garden here, and the birds must have helped." Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. She hurried home and got out her seed catalogs. She sent off to the very best seed house for 5 bushels of lupine seed. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seeds, wandered over fields, headlands, sowing lupines. She scattered seeds along the highway and down the country lanes. She flung handfuls of them around the schoolhouse and the back of the church. She tossed them into hollows and along the stone walls. Her back didn't even hurt anymore at all. Now some people called her that crazy old lady. The next spring there were lupines everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay across the schoolhouse and in the back of the church. Down in the hollows and along the stone walls grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the 3rd most difficult thing of all. My great-aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is very white. Every year there are more and more lupines. Now they call her the Lupine Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old, old lady who planted the fields of lupines. When she invites us in, they come slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells us stories of faraway places. "When I grow up," I tell her, "I too will go to faraway places and come home to live by the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," says my aunt, "but there is a 3rd thing you must do." "What is that?" I ask. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful." "All right," I say. But I do not know yet what that can be. And that's the end of the story. And I really love this story so much. And it holds such a meaningful significance to me. One factor is that, well, her grandfather was somebody from across the ocean, and he was an immigrant that came to America. And being adopted myself, I had to come across the ocean to my family in Vermont. And so even just that first page is so meaningful. And the whole message of the story is of making some place more beautiful, the world more beautiful, and not knowing what that is when you're a child, and even in your teens and 20s. Some people, it may take their whole lives to figure out how they can help make the world a better place and more beautiful. And I love that message, is that we're always learning, we're always growing, and sometimes the most beautiful thing that somebody can do is the simplest. And it doesn't take a lot to make the world better. And out of all the experiences that her grandfather did, and even she did as her life continued, it was the simple flowers of beauty that were spread across her town and the highways that the people remembered most about her. And the other thing I liked about this story is that at first, when she was doing what made her happy, not everyone was supportive. People were calling her the old crazy lady, and they didn't understand how she was making the world more beautiful. And they just criticized her instead of looking and seeing that somebody was doing something that filled them with joy. And it wasn't until she made a difference and that the flowers came up later that then they looked at her differently and reflected and said, wow, this person made a huge impact. And I really appreciate what she's done to change the environment in our place that we live. And so that's one other thing I really loved about the story, is that there was a lot of waiting involved because you're talking about flowers. And I just think that is marvelous, because in life, we do have to do a lot of waiting. And not everything's going to happen when we want it to on our time. And when you go for your dream or your ambition, not everyone is going to be supportive right off the bat. You need to have patience, and you need to give time to your endeavors. And you need to give time to people to be open to seeing what you're doing. And that might take a lot of time. And the book that as a child, I loved this book because most of my children's books are about characters being in their childhood. And not a lot of books that I had talked about a character throughout their entire life like this one does. And I think it's so important for children to realize that they don't need to know what they're going to be when they're an adult. They don't need to have everything figured out, and they shouldn't. They can dream about what they think will bring them happiness and dream about what they think may bring them joy. But they also have to know not everything is going to work out the way that they think it is. And sometimes the things that don't work out in the way that they want bring them even better success and even better dreams that they could even imagine. And so that's another piece of wisdom that I feel like this book has held for me throughout my life. And the whole message of the story for me is making sure that you're open to possibilities of making the world a better place, and that you are constantly learning and constantly growing. And a lot of the jobs that I've had, I'm thinking of the jobs that my mom worked for the foundation office of the camps Kiwait and Sangadiwan. And my brother and I were lucky enough to work there when we were teenagers and in our early 20s as well. And the motto of the boys' camp was help the other fellow, which again, helping others. It's such a really great phrase that they always use. And help the other fellow, along with the other girls' camp, which is called Sangadiwan. And I worked in the office at that camp when I was in my teens and 20s, was strong of heart. And both of those in collaboration are just so important in being somebody who makes change in the world, whether it's small or great. And again, small or great change, there's no comparison, because most of the people who do make great change do it in small steps, bite-sized pieces. And along the way and through time, it turns into something great. And then as I move on towards my other job that I took, and it was when I was working at Sangadiwan that I got notified that I got the job that I have today, and that is at the elementary school that I worked at for 10 years. And their philosophy on life was that, and what the teachers say, what the children say, is we are caring, we are safe, and we are responsible. And those three outlooks have created a community that is supportive, that is loving, and that is always there to help one another and to make people feel validated, to make people feel safe, and to make people feel cared for. And everyone tries their best to do these three things that the school teaches. And as you are in kindergarten and preschool, you're just learning how to do those things. But by the time they're fifth graders, they are so confident, and they're so strong in showing those things. And throughout my time there, I had started when I was 27. I was still very single and independent. And over the time there, that's when I met my husband, and we had dated for quite a few years, and then we got married. And now, as I'm ending my career there, I have my daughter. And so much of my time there has been so formative. And I know most of society says that formative years are when babies and children are from 0 to 5 or 0 to 12 when they're in elementary school. But I think that every year of your life is formative, because every second, every minute, every hour, every week, every month, every year can change you in so many ways. And I do feel like the 10 years that I've been at this school have been so formative for me, not only as a teacher in crafting my ways that I teach, and also how I improve as an educator and making sure that all my students meet and are able to access their learning, no matter what ways and differentiation they need to get there. And I do feel that my time there has also been formative in how I've been grounding and creating the life that I want outside of school as well, with my family that I've always wanted. And so this book holds a lot of special meaning for me, and also the philosophies of how I see the world and how the jobs that I've taken see the world as well. So I know this was a little bit longer video. I didn't get much into the other experiences that I wanted to talk about for the week. So the next few videos we'll be talking about that. You see that this background, some of you may know from a previous video that I'm in my parents' house. We are so appreciative that they invited us here when it was 90 to 100 degrees yesterday and for today. So I'm excited to get to spend some time with my parents. And so this coming week, I'll be putting out more videos to talk about all the experiences that I've had last week and to dig deeper into those. And also fill you in on what had happened in my weekend, because there was just so much, and it was so busy, and I wanted to discuss everything. I wanted to share all of the things that had occurred, and I wanted to do it justice, because I felt if I had put out videos and I wasn't prepared, the message of the videos wouldn't come across as smoothly as I want. And so I am very happy with being able to share this book. I think it is actually perfect timing that I'm in my childhood home where I loved this book so much. And I hope that I was able to give you some joy and some peace today. So I love you all. I hope you all stay cool and hydrated on this very hot couple of days. And hopefully as the week progresses, we'll have some cooler weather. And I hope you all take care. And I will see you in the next video.